But to a lot of people in the Western world, this is Reformation Sunday, and it's fell on the 31st this year. This is when Martin Luther, back in 1517, nailed his 95 Theses to the door at Wittenberg Church, Cathedral, whatever it was, 95 points, what he wasn't happy in, and from that came a world-changing event. Now, I know a lot of Roman Catholics didn't like it, but just remember, without that event, you wouldn't have this Bible in the vernacular. You wouldn't have it in your language. It's forbidden. And it was forbidden for a long time after that, but you wouldn't have this Bible. You wouldn't be able to read the scriptures and come to a personal relationship with Christ if it hadn't been for that event. And, we hear a lot of nonsense. He's like the bogeyman of the Roman Catholic world, that he was a devil worshipper, not nonsense. It's the same as we Protestants are taught that the Jesuits are actually Satan worshippers. I doubt that very much indeed. But, both of you over the years with the religious wars made up all sorts of stories and all the rest of it. And I don't care whether you like Luther or you don't like Luther. It's not the point. I can tell you in my own personal life, any time I get into a tight spot, I think of what he went through and when he stood before the authorities at the Diet of Worms. Because I want us to consider something. The power the papacy had back then was remarkable. It was akin to a Caesar. If you took the American president, the Russian president, and the Chinese president and combined them into one power, that's the power the papacy had back then. And for a poor monk from northern Germany to stand in front of them and defy them and say, no, I don't like this. Templar selling indulgences to get people out of purgatory, and that money was going to build the new St. Peter's Basilica, that kind of stuff. There were abuses, and anybody who would deny there was abuses is just, they're your head in the sand. There were abuses. And that's not to attack my own Catholic friends, but there were terrible abuses. And remember, to this day, I am still a Catholic. We've just dropped the Roman bit. So Luther did a remarkable thing. Now, whether you agree with him or you don't agree with him, if you can imagine going in front of the most powerful authority in the world, more powerful than America today, more powerful than China and Russia and America put together, and you stand in front of a council that have the capacity and intent to take your life, to kill you like John Huss before him, and defy them over several days. And I remember very clearly, and it's backed me up in times when I get tight, when he stood there and they said, you must recant. And he said a thing of incredible braveness, whether you're Catholic, Protestant, in between, even of no religion, think of him just as a man then. He said that his conscience was prisoner to the scriptures. And he said, show me from the scriptures where I err, and I shall abjure. Here I stand. I can do no other. So help me God. And of course, that sparked the Reformation. He survived and it sparked the Reformation, and it was over one point, and one point only. I've been to Rome. I've been in the steps where the old Vatican was, before St. Peter's. It was St. John Lateran. I've been there, and there's these stairs you go up on your knees, and it's something to do with, you gain some salvific power from doing this thing, and he just wasn't wearing it. And what came into his head was the just shall live by faith. Now, there are a lot of people saying that's a load of rubbish. Well, is it? Romans 1:17 says there this, for therein is the righteousness of God revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, the just shall live by faith. Go over to Galatians 3 verse 11. But that no man is justified by the law in the sight of God. It is evident, for the just shall live by faith. Now, I'm not here to give you a theological lecture or score points, Protestant points against Catholics or Orthodox. Not what I'm here for. It's not what I'm here for. But it would be remiss of me if I did not bring this up on this auspicious day. This is Reformation Day, and for at least half of Christendom, because half of Christendom now is no longer Roman Catholic. In fact, more than that, it would be remiss of me not to bring this to your attention. It is, for me, in the tradition I was brought up in, a very, very important day. And I am not an Anglican. Martin Luther was a Lutheran, Anglican, whatever. It's not my tradition. And I would disagree with Luther on many, many points. Many points. But for what he'd done that day and his bravery as a human being, of a man of absolute stoic decision and courage and standing by what he thought was right, I think we could all take a leaf out of his book in the days and weeks and months that lie ahead of us, because we're going to be put in the same position as him. We're going to stand before our peers and we will be told, you comply, whether it's vaccine, whatever, or you're losing your job, you're losing your house, you're losing your kids, and eventually you're going to lose your life. I would hope that I had the courage that Luther had when he stood before all those high and mighty people and said, here I stand. I can do no other. May God help me.